Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. President Trump makes a shock-and-awe start to his second stint, pardons rioters, signs orders including withdrawing once again from the Paris Climate Pact. The World Health Organization hopes the US will reconsider Trump's decision to withdraw from the global health body. China says it's committed to the WHO and the Paris climate deal after the US pulls out. And India showcases its economic prowess at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Well, first up, Donald Trump was sworn in for a second non-consecutive term as the United States President on Monday. He said that the golden age of America has begun. In his inaugural address, Donald Trump referred to this 20th of January as Liberation Day. He returned to the White House aiming to reset U.S. policies across various areas such as immigration, tariffs and energy. Listen in to some of Donald Trump's statements, which he made in his own inimitable style at his inauguration.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied. We will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. I was saved by God to make America great again. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
And Donald Trump signed a number of executive orders aimed at undoing many of the policies implemented by the Biden administration. Soon after his swearing in, Trump signed an order to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement for a second time. He followed it up by signing a formal letter to the United Nations notifying the global body of the country's intent to leave the landmark 2015 Accord, which seeks to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions driving climate change. So the newly minted US President issued a flurry of executive orders and directives as he sought to put his stamp on his new administration on matters ranging from energy to criminal pardons and immigration. Here are some of the key executive orders signed on Trump's first day back in the Oval Office.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon. Oh, what a great feeling. Leaves office taking a pardon every person they ever met. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty. We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration. I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need people. Could happen. Stranger things have happened. Ooh, that's a big one. To sell it or close it. Here's a big deal, merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again. He's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. World Health ripped us off. That's it. It's not going to happen anymore. A lot of big ones, huh? You know what that means, right? The word tariff is much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. You put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our company. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. The one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy our oil and gas. It's going to be to keep America safe. Very simple. You know, NATO has to pay more money. Zelensky wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does. He might not. I don't know. And China controls the Panama Canal. And we're not going to allow that to happen. It's not even a threat. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it?
Now, the World Health Organization has expressed its regret over the decision by the new U.S. administration of President Donald Trump to withdraw the country from the UN agency. In a social media post on X, the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, and I quote, "The World Health Organization regrets the announcement that the United States of America intends to withdraw from the organization. We hope the United States will reconsider, and we look forward to engaging in constructive dialogue to maintain the partnership between the USA and the WHO for the benefit of the health and well-being of millions of people around the globe." But after the newly inaugurated US President signed an executive order directing the United States to withdraw from the World Health Organization, China vowed to support the body. Speaking to the media, China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson said his country will further strengthen the global health body.
The role of the WHO should only be strengthened, not weakened. China will, as always, support the WHO in fulfilling its responsibilities and work towards building a shared community of health for humanity. The role of the WHO should only be strengthened, not weakened. China will, as always, support the WHO in fulfilling its responsibilities and work towards building a shared community of health for humanity.
And global markets remained on edge on Tuesday after Donald Trump hinted at imposing 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada as early as the 1st of February. The news sent shockwaves through currencies, with the Mexican peso dropping 1% and the Canadian dollar hitting a 5-year low. With US markets closed on Monday for a holiday, the first reaction came from Asia. Europe's Euro Stoxx 50 futures slipped 0.25%, while Japan's Nikkei ended the day barely up at 0.13%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng managed a 0.42% gain. Oil prices took a hit after Trump announced plans to maximize US oil and gas production by declaring a national emergency. Brent crude dropped to $80.18 a barrel, near its lowest level in a week. And now we're shifting focus to South Korea. Impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol for the first time appeared for an argument in his impeachment trial at the Constitutional Court on Tuesday. During his trial, when asked by a judge, Yoon denied ordering the military to drag out lawmakers from the country's parliament to prevent them from voting down his declaration of martial law. He also said that he had not intended to disable parliament's functioning. South Korea was plunged into political chaos by Yoon's the 3rd of December martial law declaration, which lasted just 6 hours before lawmakers voted it down. They later impeached him, stripping him of his duties. He also became the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested in a criminal probe on an insurrection charge.
If the decision to lift the martial law made on the night of December 3rd and 4th was stopped by deploying the military, does it mean that there would no longer be any other demands to lift martial law and that it would simply continue indefinitely? I don't believe that to be the case.
저는 그렇지 않다고 봅니다.
And now the latest on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia launched an overnight attack on Ukraine using 131 drones and 4 missiles. The Ukrainian Air Force reported on Tuesday that 72 drones were shot down, while 59 failed to hit their targets. While some buildings in 2 Ukrainian regions were damaged, no human casualties were reported. Meanwhile, Russia said that it had downed 55 Ukrainian drones overnight. 6 were downed over the western region of Voronezh near Ukraine. The falling debris sparked a new fire at an oil depot in a border region. Now, as the Gaza ceasefire deal enters the 3rd day, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Hamas's military capabilities should be destroyed and its political rule in Gaza should end so that it never again poses a threat to Israel. In a video message on Monday, Netanyahu thanked Donald Trump for helping him in securing the hostage release deal and once more pledged to return the remaining hostages. Earlier, 3 Israeli hostages, all women, were reunited with their families after Hamas fighters handed them over on Sunday, followed by the overnight release of 90 Palestinian prisoners. The first phase of the truce would last 6 weeks, during which the parties would negotiate a permanent ceasefire, which has not been agreed to yet.
I believe that working together again, we will raise the U.S.-Israel alliance to even greater heights. I look forward to working with you to return the remaining hostages, to destroy Hamas's military capabilities and end its political rule in Gaza, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Meanwhile, the relatives of the 3 Israeli ex-hostages called for the release of the remaining 94 captives seized during Hamas's 7th of October 2023 attacks.
Please keep on fighting for the remaining 94 hostages who need to come home. There are too many other families who are waiting to hug their loved ones or bring them back for a proper burial. As I've been saying over the past number of months, the hostages in Gaza must have access to humanitarian aid while they are waiting to be released.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. India welcomes the World Bank neutral experts' decision to address issues related to projects under the Indus Waters Treaty, which Pakistan had opposed. And the Prayag Raj Mahakumbh is not only serving as a route to salvation for scores of pilgrims, but also better eyesight. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the World Economic Forum 2025 in Davos, Indian Ministers Chirag Paswan and Jayant Chaudhary, along with the Chief Minister of the Indian state of Telangana, Revanth Reddy, together inaugurated the India Pavilion in Switzerland. The pavilion, which showcases India's economic potential, features various Indian states, each seeking investment opportunities and fostering international collaborations. And Chief Minister of the Indian state of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, on Tuesday inaugurated the Maharashtra Pavilion in Davos at the ongoing World Economic Forum. The pavilion aims to welcome the world to Maharashtra. The Chief Minister was also accompanied by State Industries Minister Uday Samant. Also at the WEF, the Government of Maharashtra signed 2 MOUs, one with Kalyani Group in the sector of defence and steel and electric vehicles, and another with Reliance Infrastructure Limited in the defence sector. Maharashtra CM, along with heads of the companies, witnessed the signing of the documents. And Chief Minister of the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, N. Chandrababu Naidu, also highlighted the goal of zero poverty at a CII session in Davos on Tuesday.
There is poverty. There are inequalities between haves and have-nots. It is growing. But ultimately, people as capital. Zero poverty is the goal. How to reduce inequalities continuously. It is the responsibility of everyone. As policymakers, my responsibility. As corporate leaders, it is equally your responsibility. All of us will join together how to make India without any poverty.
And on the second day of the World Economic Forum, in a special address at Davos, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said that the EU must continue to diversify energy supplies and expand clean sources of generation of renewables.
In this spirit, we will need to work together to avoid a global race to the bottom, because it is in no one's interest to break the bonds of the global economy. Rather, we need to modernize the rules to sustain our ability to produce mutual gain for our citizens.
Now, as India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is also to present the Union Budget 2025 on the 1st of February, eminent economist Dr. Nagesh Kumar, while speaking to DD India, has spelled out his expectations for the upcoming budget.
Well, I would expect a further push to labor-intensive manufacturing sectors like garments, textiles, and last budget the finance minister extended a production-linked incentives scheme to two labor-intensive sectors, leather and toys. I think that trend, I hope, will continue, and some more labor-intensive manufacturing sectors will be extended PLI scheme. And this is one of the things. And the other thing I would expect is that finance minister 2 years ago started a very big thrust on public investment in infrastructure with 10 lakh crores, then 11.11 lakh crores. I think I hope that she will maintain and build on that momentum she has started, which is a very good thing for India to have at this moment.
And India has welcomed the decision of the World Bank appointed neutral expert to address certain issues related to projects under the Indus Waters Treaty of 1960. The neutral expert announced his competence to address differences between India and Pakistan related to the Kishanganga and Ratle hydroelectric projects in Jammu and Kashmir. India reiterated that it will continue to participate in the neutral expert process so that the differences are resolved in a manner consistent with the provisions of the treaty. India does not recognize or participate in the Court of Arbitration proceedings in the matter, citing provisions of the IWT that do not provide for parallel proceedings on the same set of issues. Pakistan had approached the World Bank in 2016 concerning its objections to the design features of the two hydroelectric power projects, seeking a settlement through a neutral expert. However, it later withdrew this request and sought adjudication through a court of arbitration. Now, in a mighty blow to Naxalism in India, security forces have achieved a major success towards building a Naxal-free nation. The Central Reserve Police Force Special Operations Group in Odisha and Chhattisgarh Police neutralized 23 Naxalites in a joint operation along the Odisha-Chhattisgarh border. According to the police, a member of the Naxal group who had a bounty of 1 crore rupees on his head was also killed in the encounter. The police informed that the encounter is still underway and more details are awaited on the entire episode. On the 17th of January, 2 Border Security Force Jawans sustained injuries after Naxals set off an improvised explosive device in Chhattisgarh's Narayanpur district. And India's Home Minister Amit Shah has termed it a big success, saying, "With our resolve for a Naxal-free India and the joint efforts of our security forces, Naxalism is breathing its last today." Now, the Paper and Tissue Show 2025 opened at the Abu Dhabi National Exhibition Centre on Tuesday. The three-day event, running from the 21st to the 23rd of this month, has attracted over 300 exhibitors and 16,000 visitors from more than 120 countries. At the show, industry leaders are emphasizing environmental responsibility across all aspects of paper production and packaging. 22 Indian companies from various paper industry segments are participating in the Paper and Tissue Show, reflecting the country's growing presence in the global market. India has emerged as a significant player in this industry, representing about 5% of the global paper market.
We are at Paper and Tissue Show in Abu Dhabi, and it's a pleasure to be here and meeting the insightful people, talking about trade and about waste paper, recycling. It's absolutely very insightful. I feel lucky to be a part of this particular forum because it opens up the gateways to exceed my network and connect with more people, talk about sustainability, talk about recycling, reusing of paper.
And now to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, which is the largest gathering of humans on the entire planet. The Mahakumbh festival is currently underway in Uttar Pradesh's Prayag Raj, and each day is witnessing a record number of devotees who've been taking the holy dip at the Trivedi Sangam. Many cultural events are also being lined up at various venues to entertain the visitors. And as the Mahakumbh Mela is underway in Prayag Raj, the religious fervour is also going global. The Mahakumbh Mela celebrations at the Indian Embassy in Tokyo saw enthusiastic participation by friends of India and members of the Indian diaspora in Japan. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla addressed the valedictory session of the 85th All India Presiding Officers Conference on Tuesday. Bihar Governor Arif Mohammed Khan also attended the conference on the second day. Lok Sabha Speaker also inaugurated the Neva Seva Kendra in Bihar legislature premises. Themed 75th anniversary of Constitution, contribution of Parliament and state legislative bodies in strengthening constitutional values, the two-day conference was held in Bihar for the third time. Well, the coronavirus pandemic has been long over, but some changes it brought to work life seem to be persisting. In Germany, there seems to be a trend of employees doing as much work as possible remotely, and it's beginning to irk companies and economists. Lars Holters with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Well, hope you're doing well, Lars. Now, can you tell us if this problem of weak attendance, whether it can be solved or not?
Take some harsh action. I don't know what it will take to get coffee badging under control, but we're currently seeing that things are discussed at a policy level that might solve a very similar problem. People calling in sick way too often. Germans are currently sick between 15 and 20 days a year, depending on how it's defined. Interesting, the number of sick days is going up every year. And it's not reasonable to assume that we are getting more sick as a society. Also, the number of sick days in our neighboring countries is a lot lower, and that makes no sense at all. Germans are currently getting paid sick leave very easily, and most recently ideas were discussed to pay sick leave only after the second or third day. So employees would still being paid when they're sick, but not fully. So every time you call in sick, you'd lose a bit of money, and the idea is that this might change things entirely.
Well, let's see if that happens. Thanks for joining us from Berlin, Lars. Now, some sports news. In the ICC Under-19 Women's World Cup, India secured a dominant 10-wicket win over host Malaysia at the Beuma Oval in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The visitors bowled out Malaysia for a meagre 31 runs in 14.3 overs. courtesy of Vaishnavi Sharma's remarkable bowling figures of 5 for 5 and Ayushi Shukla's 3 for 8. Vaishnavi Sharma scripted history as she became the first Indian bowler to take a hat-trick in Under-19 Women's World Cup. Team India, led by Nikki Prasad, chased down the target in less than 3 overs without losing a single wicket. Now, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal shared a video of his visit to Brussels. Let's bring you some snippets of his Brussels visit, where he engaged with key ministers and industry leaders to further India's ties with Belgium and the EU. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.